life, sweet life, sweet life, sweet life.
Hi guys, and welcome back. Today I'm going to be showing you how I made this Chanel quilted bag cake. So I started off with a quarter sheet pan, and this is a red velvet cake, and I just used my mat to actually measure it into 3 equal parts, and then I'm going to stack those 3 parts and I'm going to cover it in buttercream. I actually did shave a little bit off the corners on the top just because the bag is not completely rectangle. It's kind of rounded on the side, so I did shave a little bit off. So I'm just going to start off with my black fondant, and this is Wilton black fondant, and I'm using shortening to actually roll it out. Using my fondant smoother to go in and get any air bubbles out, make sure it's nice and smooth. And then I'm going to go in on the sides to remove the fondant with my X-Acto knife. Now I measured out 2 panels for the side. I'm just going to attach those, and then I'm going to use my X-Acto knife to cut off any excess around the edges. So now I'm going to use my Quilted impression mat, and I'm going to make sure I'm holding this straight and use my fondant smoother to get that quilted pattern onto the cake, I'm sorry. And it lightly puts the pattern on there. You could have actually did this before you put the fondant onto the cake, but I like to do it on the cake. So I just put it, I put the impression mat on there, and it gives me the pattern lightly, and then I go in with one of my small cake scrapers, and I just make those lines a little deeper. But the impression mat, it is what gave me the pattern, so I'm just carefully following that same quilted pattern, but just making the lines a little deeper with my cake scraper. And you want to go just a little deeper, but not too deep, because you don't want to pierce the cake. Like, if you press too hard, you will actually put a hole in the cake. So I'm not pressing too hard. I'm just pressing just enough to get the impression, but not enough to actually go through the actual fondant. So now I'm rolling out another small square of fondant, and this is what I'm going to use as the flap for the bag. So I'm actually going to put this onto the cake, and then once I put it on, I'm going to measure it and cut off the excess with my X-Acto knife once I get the flap the size that I want it. And then I'm going to use the impression from under the flap, and I'm going to kind of follow that impression, because I want, when the flap closes, the bottom of the flap, I want it to follow the same pattern as the layer of fondant up under. I don't want my diamond pattern to be off. So you'll see as I adhere it down with piping gel, and you can actually see, that's why I rolled it kind of thin. I didn't roll it too thick, so I can actually see the pattern through the top layer, because I'm going to follow that exact same pattern, so that when the bottom of the bag closes, the pattern will continue. Okay, so now we're gonna make the chain for the cake, and I'm just using this chain mold, and we're also gonna make the CC um, logo, and I'm gonna use a letter O small cookie cutter. I couldn't find the letter C. So I'm just going to use an O, and then I'm going to cut off a little piece of it. So we're going to use yellow fondant to make all the little hardware. And then we're going to paint all of that with gold luster dust. And you guys know I like to mix my luster dust with a little bit of vodka. Yes, vodka, the kind that you drink. I keep getting that question. If you don't want to use vodka, you can use lemon extract, because it has alcohol in it, so it'll give you the same effect, but you don't have to use vodka. You can use lemon extract to paint instead. So I used a small old cookie cutter and just made two letter C's, as you can see. And I'm just going to loop those around each other, as you can see, and kind of press down, and then you end up with the Chanel sign. Wasn't that easy? And this is my gold luster dust mixed with a few drops of vodka. And like I said, if you don't want to use vodka, you can use lemon extract instead. So I'm going to paint the two chains for the strap of the handbag. And I'm also going to paint the Chanel symbol that's going to go on the flap of the bag. So I did cut out some tiny strips of black fondant, and I'm going to use those to weave into the chain to create that Chanel bag effect. You can stick these with piping gel, but since my gold was still a little tacky, I didn't actually use anything to stick it. It actually was able to stick because the gold wasn't completely dry. But if you let yours completely dry, then yeah, you can use piping gel. But I will say you don't want your strap to dry completely hard because of the fact that you need to place it on the cake and it needs to be pliable and flexible for you to be able to place it the way you want to. If you do let that gold strap harden up too much, it will just be a straight line and you won't be able to curve it or move it to like fit to the bag. So don't let it dry too much. I only let mine sit out for like 30 or 40 minutes just for the gold to dry before I put it on the cake. Do not let it dry hard because it will give you an issue and probably crack and break when it's time to put it on the cake. I did end up making two small gold circles to put at the top of the bag, and those are going to act as the where you insert the chain for the bag. I made those off camera. They're just small letter O's, and I'm adhering everything with piping gel. And see, this is what I'm talking about. You want your chain to be flexible. So if I would have let it dry hard, I wouldn't be able to curve it down the bag and then around to meet the other chain like that. So that's why you don't want to let that chain get too hard. So these are some foam flowers that I got from Amazon. I'm really loving using these flowers lately. I will link them below. I love them because they give you the look of a real flower. But like I said, they're foam and they come in all different colors, and you don't have to worry about buying real flowers. You can buy these foam flowers and then you can keep the extra ones for future projects. So I just love them. So this is how it came out, guys. I love this cake. Let me know if you have any questions. I'll link all the products below. Don't forget to like, comment, and most of all, subscribe to my channel, guys. Bye.